we were all hanging on to his words, and we were just hoping that the smart renewable technology Perscovite was available today so that we can all have personal cooling systems and would not have been bothered by the failing air conditioning. Thank you once again, and now can we request Shri Pankaj Kumar Pandey for his address. As we all know that he is the Managing Director of Bangalore Electricity Supply Company. He's a very astute and result-oriented professional with 13 years of experience in general administration, planning and execution of new schemes. And of course, apart from the energy sector, urban sector is also his specialization. We welcome Pankaj Kumar Pandey.
Thank you very much. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. All the dignitaries sitting on the dais, my colleague and very dear friend Shantanu, Shri Yasin Ganguly, Dr. Kalyan Rudra, Dr. Savik Bhattacharya, all the young engineers, professionals, researchers who have come here. In fact, morning we were just discussing before I came here. See, I've been attired in a suit, but because Bangalore, it's quite common to be there in, say, in suit, because this you can wear almost 11 months or 10 months in the year. Bangalore is pretty cool that way. And Bangalore has one more thing common with Bengal. In fact, recently we have got that thing in common. Bangalore is not spelled as Bengaluru, so it has part of Bengal in that. The name itself has Bengal in that. And as I was discussing in the morning, apart from that, I could have carried a little bit of weather of the Bangalore. And then Dr. Savik told that if we have a spring, then probably that bit of weather could be also carried to Kolkata. So that's there. I have been given an onerous task of probably being the second last or last batsman, and in the 50-50 overs match or 20-20 overs match, the dead overs are interesting, but it's very difficult in the inauguration function to keep the interest of the audience alive during the last phases of the inauguration function. I could see some yawning faces in the crowd, so I'll try to keep your interest. To start with, I'd like to just put forward a quotation which says that we do not inherit the earth from our ancestors, rather we borrow it from our children. And we are the first generation seeing the effects of climate change, and probably the last to be able to do something about it. So a big responsibility is on our shoulders to see that we rise up to the occasion and see that we bring about the changes which will make the earth much more cooler, much more better, and there's no other way rather than going for more and more renewable energy. As I was mentioning, Bangalore, I will just give a little bit of a profile of the city. Before I go, one more thing which is common between, I think, both the states is that we have been one of the first to get electricity in our states. Bangalore was lighted with the street lights way back in 1905, and in 1878, then Maharaja of Mysore got his palace lighted up with electricity bulbs when I think the prince got married. So that was way back when probably the bulbs and all this were invented. And 1902 we got Shiv Samudram power plant, and there is a lot of legacy of electricity generation, distribution in West Bengal as well. Now Bangalore being the technology hub where the people have travelled quite far, well, a lot of professionals have been to the various R&D centers in the world, have lived in California, have lived in UK, have lived in Australia, and they have seen the various kinds of the green energy initiatives. So when they come to Bangalore, their obvious questions are, and they expect a lot of high standards of distribution. and it makes our lives really tough. It's actually very tough to provide 24/7 power supply to a city which is ever growing, where the requirement is almost 2,500 megawatts, and where the requirement or the demand also keeps on fluctuating. Now, one thing which the government of Karnataka, in fact all over the country, it is being emphasized is solar rooftop. Now I like to engage in a debate on the solar rooftop or decentralized solar rooftops versus solar parks. It's a very interesting debate, and I will like that in the next sessions you please discuss on those things, because see, my personal view is, if you have decentralized solar rooftops, grid-tied solar rooftops, then it doesn't require any extra investment in terms of your lines or distribution network, because you're using your own network, the existing network. In fact, it many times decongests your transformer, decongests your line, because the energy starts flowing in the opposite direction. It also basically averages out the variations in the weather. Now, in fact, recently there was an announcement, and Karnataka is going to get the biggest solar park of almost 2,000 megawatt in Tumkur. There is a district called Tumkur in Pavada Taluka. Now, just imagine that you have got almost 1,100 acres of land, 2,000 megawatt of solar generation, and if a cloud is passing over that area, that may be a momentarily phenomenon. It may be, or it is raining in that area where the generation will dip down from, say, from 2,000 megawatts. Suppose at 3 o'clock it is generating 2,000 megawatt, a cloud passes, it will immediately dip down to 100 megawatt. As power engineers, just imagine that it's a thermal power plant. So incidentally coming down from 2,000 megawatt to 100 megawatt, and again coming back in under half an hour to 2,000 megawatt, makes the life of the load dispatcher who is sitting in the state load dispatch center really, really tough. Which means that you should have that kind of absorption, that kind of cushion available with you if you are going to have these big solar parks and solar generation plants. So it's a big debate as to whether we should emphasize on solar parks or go for decentralized generation. We are experimenting with both. In our country, we experiment with both, and we'll go. In fact, the experience around the world has been that decentralized generation or grid-tied solar rooftops are always preferred, and Germany, Japan, and all those countries have shown that. The other thing is, in fact, in Karnataka, we have got because there's economics in everything. And unless and until you make it really remunerative for a consumer or someone to put solar rooftop, they will not go for that. So a person to become prosumer, both a consumer and a producer of electricity, that person has to have some economic motive or has to have some financial motive to go for that. And fortunately in Karnataka, we have got a policy where the Regulatory Commission has said that, okay, you put grid-tied solar rooftop, we will pay you 9.56 rupees per unit of exported energy. So that's a very good option. As a consumer, okay, I have got a good rooftop, and Bangalore, thankfully, has got a lot of roof area. These multi-story buildings is a recent phenomenon. So the old part of the city, which receives almost 300 days of sunshine, has got a huge amount of roof area, and so in 5.5 years, if I don't consume much, and I'm able to pump everything into the grid, I will get the return on the investment in 5.5 years flat. So it makes a really good, say, a model, provided the Regulatory Commission thinks on those lines. But again, it has got the economics on the distribution companies and all that. So this again will come that why should you purchase 9.56 rupees power, when then you can always come out with a counter logic that, okay, we are saving on the distribution losses. A country which is parched for power, we are providing power generation and all that. So these logics are there. And from 1st November, just to give an example of Bangalore, from 1st November we launched this entire program. In the last almost 10 months, we have got 2.2 megawatt, almost 130 consumers are right now pumping into the grid. They are all grid-tied solutions. And the 650 applications are there where we have approved. And people are putting the solar rooftop, which amounts to almost 65 megawatts. So in Bangalore, after a year, when again probably you will hold your conference and seminar, we'll be proud to say that we have crossed half century. We have more than 50 megawatt of grid-tied solar rooftops in the city. And this is what the state government has been promoting. One more interesting thing, in fact, we were discussing the electricity for the farmers. Now, I'll just ask the audience, can anyone make a guess as to what percentage of the power distribution in Karnataka goes to the farming sector? Any guesses? Any guesses from your side? It is 40%. 40% of my electricity distribution goes to the farmers. Now 40% means almost, and this is all subsidized for the farmers. In Karnataka, we don't collect anything from the farmers for this, and the government subsidizes this. Now this subsidy has been galloping. We used to receive 3,500 crores around, say in 2011, which has now risen to almost 7,000 crores. In 4 years, it has doubled. And any government will not be able to sustain it beyond a point. So what's the solution? The solution is, why don't you go for solar powered pump sets which are tied to the grid? So we have been experimenting this in one feeder in a district called Ramnagar. You would have seen the movie Sholay. There's a movie called Sholay. It was shot in Ramnagar. So that district we are doing a grid tied system where solar powered pump sets will be coming, and almost 300 farmers will have, say, power supply in the daytime. Right now what they get right now is 5 hours of power supply in the daytime and 2 hours in the night. They will have assured power supply for almost 9 to 10 hours. Whenever they are not doing any farming, at that point of time they will be able to export the excess energy to the grid. And what we are doing is we are putting a small bait for the farmers to save energy and water. What we are telling is, you will have a net meter, which means it will measure the net import or export, and will provide you 1 rupee for each unit of energy that you export to the grid. So they will be able to save power, water, and hopefully soil, because soil quality also erodes. If something is free, then they switch on the motors, they forget, and they will go for flood irrigation. Probably with this kind of system, they will go for drip irrigation, they will save power and also. So this is one scheme which we are piloting almost at a cost of 25 crores. And if this succeeds, and we are doing the entire thing through a farmers cooperative with the assistance of our engineers, and if this scheme succeeds, then there will be a paradigm shift in the way we distribute or we give the power to the farming sector. And it is very important from the southern Indian states perspective, because there you hit waters. There are some districts in Karnataka where you get water at 1400 feet, 1500 feet. I'm basically from UP, Allahabad, and say, if someone used to say that I get water at 1500 feet, I used to really wonder, because in our village and in our area, you used to hit water at say 50 feet or 25 feet. On my village is across Ganges, so you just dig a well there and you get water. But there you have to go to 1400 feet, 1500 feet, and in that case, no government can sustain free electricity beyond a point. So that's why this kind of solution has to be tried, and we have to do that. We also have got a very innovative scheme called Farmers Participation Scheme in generation, in solar generation, and that basically asks the farmers to give their land for putting a solar power plant. A person, the farmer will apply, investor will come, and the farmer will get basically a rent for the land where he has put the solar power plant. So that discontent of farmer not giving his land and all that will be also removed, and he gets a handsome sum by way of leasing out his land for the solar power plant. In Karnataka, in fact, we have got a target of 2000 megawatt for the next 3 years, starting from 2014 for solar generation. So 2 gigawatts almost is what we have to generate through solar. A lot of efforts are being there. Obviously, all the renewables come with their own perils also of balancing the grid, as I was mentioning. 2000 megawatt, if some cloud comes, suddenly you have to bring your hydels and all that instantaneously, and all those So these are some of the things which we need to discuss as to how we need to balance the grid and maintain a frequency in view of the entire nation, and probably there's a talk of the entire SARC being a single grid. So this is one thing which we need to discuss in our deliberations today. And I will end with a very famous quote of Thomas Edison. He used to say that I would put my money on the sun and solar energy. What a source of power. I hope we don't have to wait until oil and coal run out before we tackle them. So let's hope that we put all our money on solar, wind and renewables, and slowly remove the fossil fuels and carbon footprints, and basically hand over a better tomorrow to our next generation. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Shri Pankaj Kumar Pandey. And now we would be requesting Shri Shrutendranath Ganguly for his address. He is the Regional Executive Director, Western Region 2, as also the Executive Director, Corporate Communications and Law of NTPC Limited. Shri Ganguly has more than 3.5 decades experience in NTPC Limited, and he is even now a practicing project manager and has contributed to NTPC's growth in 5 projects. We welcome Sri Shrutendranath Ganguly.
Thank you. Namaskar. On the dais, Sri Santanu Basu, Sri Pandey, Dr. Bhattacharya, Dr. Rudra. First of all, I thank you very much for calling me here, which really refreshed my attention to the renewables. In the dais, I am the only practicing engineer. All others are either IAS or scientists. So in between I am sandwiched. More so, I am the last speaker. जो भी मैं लिख के लाया था सब बोला गया. So I don't know what to say and how to say. Nevertheless, let me try. A lot of talk is there on CO2 emission and global warming. It has not started today, and I think there is more of politics and business. There is definitely scientific evidence, there is science, but more important is politics and business. Believe me, the solar mission, which is now very aggressive, and the target today put is 1,75,000 megawatt renewable by 2022. Had it come 5 years before or 7 years before, the solar power would have costed not less than 13-14 rupees per unit. I think our politicians have done reasonably well to defer the inrush of renewables till the volume has increased and till the renewables are a farm business proposition. I am like what you are, from a generating company basically, that too from thermal generation. But with the kind of incentives now being given to the generation side for renewables, renewables are a viable business proposition from generator point of view. But as you know that we have to see the entire value chain to make the business sustainable. You have to have raw material, you have to have generating machines, you have to take this power to the people first at high voltage level and then at the domestic level, domestic or industrial level. And you have to build it, collect it, plow back the money to the business again. Otherwise, on subsidy, no business can sustain for long. And that was the reason so long that solar and other renewables were not picking up. Today in the country, the installed capacity is 2,75,000 megawatt approximately, out of which the renewables are, grid connected renewables are 37,000. So it is roughly 13%. Now we are targeting for a very aggressive target. It will materialize or not materialize, only future will say. By 2022, the proposition is 60 gigawatt of power, and in that 1,75,000 megawatt is renewable. That means it will be more than 30%. Renewables have got their own nuances. It is, except this biomass and geothermal, like few renewables, it is mostly climate dependent. As Mr. Pandey was telling, that when the cloud passes by the park, the generation goes down. If from the grid 1000 megawatt goes out, what will be the frequency? What will be the voltage? So however we may dream renewable and our life will be full of renewables, it is not going to happen. The base load has to be from conventional. Either nuclear, if you do not choose nuclear, you have to choose thermal, coal. Now the question is, what can we do with this coal? Can we burn it efficiently so that our global warming reduces? Can we take extra precaution to reduce the fugitives? Those are the questions. But on near foreseeable future, coal will be there and will very much be there. If you see the renewable potentials across the country, the East is having the least potential of renewables, but rich with coal. Definitely we are planning big solar parks in Karnataka, in Madhya Pradesh, in Rajasthan. In Jaisalmer, suppose we are making a 2000 megawatt solar park. It will generate at Jaisalmer, but it has to come across the country. So we must have the green corridor, what we are now talking. So, and then you have to distribute it to the people and collect money from the people. Typical wind power cost is on an average maybe 450 to 5. Those who are in operation in your company, they will appreciate that whenever this renewable generation picks up, they ask the thermal generation to go down. As a country, the PLF is coming down. It is a surprising thing, but it is happening. Over the last few years, the generation capacity has gone up with a CAGR of maybe 6%, 7%. As per GDP, or maybe slightly more than GDP. Now we are having this 2.75 lakhs capacity. The peak demand is 1,45,000 megawatt. So what to do with the rest of investment? We have to simply digest it. Last 2 years, practically there is no demand increase. It is plateaued at peak 1.45 lakhs and off peak maybe 1.1, 1.2. There is huge surplus power available from the conventional sources. We are hoping to improve GDP. The manufacturing sector, if it improves, there will be increase in consumption. But till then, we have to manage with our low PLF economy. At one point of time, we generators were trying to maximize generation, earning incentives, and improve our financial health. Today, NTPC PLF is around 77.2. I do not know exactly what is your PLF. State sector PLF is around 57, 58 or at most 60% on an average. It is going down. But should we shy away from the renewables? No. Much before this global warming phenomena has come up, we were thinking that how long these fossil fuels will last. And when the fossil fuel goes, what will happen? Then that renewable thing started. Then, over a period of time, this technology has matured. Now it is almost competitive to fossil fuel. The average solar price has come down to maybe 5.5 rupees to 6 rupees, wind 4.5 to 5 rupees, and biomass and others I do not have much idea. Biomass and cogeneration may be slightly less. But it is now more or less on parity. And over a period of time, they are giving accelerated depreciation, they are giving other benefits. So maybe coming 8 to 10 years, the picture will be reversed. Renewable will be cheaper and conventional generation will be more costly. Then another scenario will emerge. Because whatever you do, either you go for nuclear to have the base load because we do not have enough gas, or you have to bear with thermal. Efficiency increase in thermal stations is definitely the call of the day. We have stations with tremendously high forced outages, very low heat rate, very high emission levels. We have to simply shut down those stations. There is no other thing which can save these plants. Because one side we have got higher efficiency surplus powers, and the other side we are running these very poorly efficient machines. We have to do a lot of things on thermal side and more so on demand management side. Demand side management is now very important. It was never so important. The energy conservation, the shifting, what should I say? The day-night shift concept has to be reversed. Because we have got more solar in the day, we may have to do more day shift. Your machineries will not be there. So entire work setup has to be redone. To make the renewable successful, these nitty-gritties have to be looked into. The grid stabilization is very vital. Gujarat, Karnataka has got very high renewable. Maharashtra, to some extent Madhya Pradesh, they got very high renewable potential. And already they have. Tamil Nadu have got more than 2,500 megawatt of wind. How much? 5,000. 5,000 megawatt of wind. So the day there is no wind, what Tamil Nadu will do? Tamil Nadu will pounce on us. How much they will switch off? They will pounce on us. Bring the unit back. So one side, the moment wind comes, it is a free power to them. they will run, they will say shut down the thermal units. So entire thermal unit economics has to be redone. It has to be worked out on maybe 60-65% PLF base. So if you see the overall implications, the price will go up. At 60-65% PLF or loading factor, your heat rate will be much less. So your overall production cost and selling cost will increase. Who will pay that money? Today any power more than 3.5 rupees variable cost will not be sold. 3 rupees, 3.5 is the higher side. Anything more than 3 rupees is unsellable because discoms do not have paying capability. The cumulative loss of all discoms has crossed 1 lakh crore figure. There are various schemes available for discoms to modernize or to things. But discoms has to collect money and plow back to the system. Otherwise, all the systems will collapse. But nevertheless, with all these difficulties, renewable has come to stay and now it is very firmly in the business. Whatever we have to do to accommodate renewables, we have to do. Maybe DDG, as Mr. Pandey was telling, that rooftops will be more advisable, but solar parks will be there because there will be economy of volume. It will be there. And most important is, until and unless your country's economy improves, who will pay? With continuous subsidy basis, no business can run. So one day it will collapse. So country's economy has to improve. If that improves, the renewable will stay, the thermal will stay, and if possible nuclear has to enlarge. So friends, this is the overall scenario. We have to have a balance between these two, and we have to explore whatever renewable form is possible. If you cannot have a grid connected renewable, go for heat exchangers, go for air conditioning. But all form of renewables available should be exploited. Future, as a generating company, we find future in solar. We are planning for 10,000 megawatt of our own. Our subsidiary company NVVN is helping the National Solar Mission to install 15,000 megawatt. That makes 25,000 megawatt. We are associating ourselves with a geothermal plant. It is in the feasibility study stage at Chhattisgarh. We are not yet, we have started. In our own plants, we are putting the solar plants. We got a demonstration solar thermal project in our R&D building, which runs our R&D building necessities. So as a generator, we are finding business sense in going for renewables. The main issue is the improvement in paying capability. Hope that will also improve with the country's progress, as they are promising GDP growth at 7%, 8%. It is not happening, but hope it will happen. Economist Santanu Basu Sahab hai. So hopefully he will drive the country at 10% GDP. Then the paying capability will improve and everything will be sustainable. Best wishes to all of you for your seminar. I wish all the success of the seminar. And as WBPTCL also, you should venture into renewable business. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We thank Mr. Ganguly. And before we formally release the journal, I would just like to read out a message from Dr. Amit Mitra, our Finance Minister, and he has very kindly wished us. I am delighted to learn that the Engineers Welfare Forum, WPDCL, is going to organize a national seminar on renewable energy scenario in India. I also appreciate the initiatives taken by the association to publish a technical journal, Power Gen XT Volume 4, to commemorate this special occasion. And right now we are going to formally release this particular journal. May I request Sri Shumon Sarkar to please come up and present copies of the journal to all our distinguished members on the dais for formal release. Our Central Executive Committee member, Sri Shumon Sarkar, to distribute copies of the journal to all the distinguished guests for formal release. Technical Journal, Power Gen XT, Volume 4. Can we request all of you gentlemen to kindly open the package and formally release the journal. Thank you so much. I would take this opportunity of announcing that, thank you once again. Ladies and gentlemen, this is just to remind you that we had organized an essay competition, a technical writing competition meant for the students of various engineering institutions, and the topic was the same as that of this conference, which is renewable energy scenario in India, and the prize distribution for this, first, second and third, would take place at the end of this session. So we would request all of you to stay back and encourage the students who would have won this prize. And we would also like to announce in advance that in 2016, in fact the 4th week of September 2016, we are going to organize a 2-day O&M conference on Indian power plants. The theme would be Indian power plants, and this O&M conference would be for 2 days in the 4th week of September 2016. And now may we request the president of our organization, Sri Devapriyo Mitra, to propose the vote of thanks.
Our most valued invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, it's my privilege to have been asked to propose a vote of thanks on this occasion. I, on behalf of Engineers Welfare Forum of WPDCL and the entire, let me call it, fraternity of sharing knowledge here together, and on my own behalf, extend a very hearty vote of thanks to all speakers and gracing your important work and sharing with us your findings and opinions today. Well, respected guests, ladies and gentlemen, an event like this cannot happen overnight. The wheels start rolling months ago. It requires planning and a bird's eye for details. We have been fortunate enough to be backed by a team of very motivated and dedicated colleagues of Engineers Welfare Forum who know their jobs and are result-oriented. Respected guests, ladies and gentlemen, once again I want to state that we are all most grateful to all speakers on the stage. We thank you for being with us on this day. It has been great pleasure. Thank you all.
Thank you so much. With that, we come to the end of the inaugural session. May we request all of you to kindly go back to the auditorium and take your seats, and we are immediately going to commence our technical session 1. For the technical session 1,
how is the battery for this process? How many amperes? कैसा चल रहा है? पूरा चल जाता है?
bearing condition monitoring products.
But you know, thank you very much.
Actually inventor of this. My thinking from which this big thing is done.
Okay, very well.
There are different